Let me ask you something. Why is it that two people can start at the same place, with the same education, the same opportunities, and 5 years later one is doing well and the other is still struggling? Same city, same economy, same chances, but entirely different results. You know what the difference is? It's not luck. It's not connections. It's not even talent. The difference is discipline. One person has it, the other doesn't. And here's what most people don't understand. Discipline isn't something you're born with. It's something you develop. It's a skill. And like any skill, you can learn it. But here's the problem. Most people won't. They'll wish for an easier life instead of becoming a better person. And that's why their destiny never changes. If you're ready to learn how discipline becomes the bridge between where you are and where you want to be, stay with me for the next 40 minutes. This could be the conversation that turns your life around. Let me tell you what the next 40 minutes can do for you. First, you're going to understand why you are where you are. Not to make you feel bad, but to give you clarity. See, most people blame circumstances for their situation. They blame the government, the economy, their upbringing, their education, and maybe those things played a role. But here's what I've learned after 40 years of studying success. The same wind blows on us all. You're going to learn exactly how to set your sails so that the winds of life take you where you want to go instead of where you don't. Second, you're going to discover the relationship between discipline and destiny. Most people think discipline is restrictive, that it limits freedom. But I'm going to show you the opposite is true. Discipline is what gives you freedom. The discipline to save money gives you financial freedom. The discipline to take care of your health gives you physical freedom. The discipline to learn and grow gives you unlimited possibilities. When you understand this, everything changes. Third, I'm going to share stories, my stories, and stories from people I've known that will show you what's possible when you commit to developing daily disciplines. You'll see that the life you want isn't out of reach. It's just on the other side of some simple disciplines practiced every day. Maybe you feel stuck. You've been working hard for years, but you're not getting ahead. You look around and wonder why some people seem to have it all figured out while you're still struggling with the basics. That's frustrating. Or maybe you've tried to change before. You've set goals, made resolutions, got excited for a few days or weeks, but then you fell back into old patterns. And now you're wondering if you even have what it takes to change. That's discouraging. Or maybe you're just tired of being broke, tired of broken promises you made to yourself and to the people you love. Tired of looking in the mirror and knowing you're capable of so much more. That's exhausting. I understand all of it because I've been there. Here's what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to give you hype. I'm not going to tell you that success is easy or that you can have everything you want with no effort. That's not true, and you know it. What I am going to do is give you the truth, the simple truth that has worked for thousands of years and will work for thousands more. The truth is this: your life will change when you change. Better is not something you wish for, it's something you become. And becoming better requires discipline. But here's the good news. Discipline is learnable. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to do everything right. You just have to start with small disciplines and string them together. Want to lose weight? Start by eating your bread without butter. Want to save money? Start by setting aside $20 a week. Want to be more knowledgeable? Start by reading 10 pages a day. As someone once said, inch by inch, everything's a cinch. I'm not a theorist. I'm not someone who read about success in a book and decided to teach it. I lived it. I went from earning $57 a week at age 25 to becoming a millionaire by age 31. I've shared these principles with over 4 million people across 6 continents. And I've watched them work in every kind of life, young and old, rich and poor, educated and uneducated. These aren't my ideas. These are life's ideas. I'm just sharing what works. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear understanding of what needs to change and how to change it. You'll have practical steps you can take today, not someday, today to start building the disciplines that will transform your life. And most importantly, you'll have hope. Real hope. Not the false hope that wishes things were easier, but the confident hope that knows you can become better. Your destiny is waiting, but it's not going to come looking for you. You have to build the bridge to get there. And that bridge is discipline. Let's build it together. I want to tell you about the day that changed everything for me. I was 25 years old. But despite all that effort, I was broke. My paycheck was $57 a week, and I had more bills than I could count scattered across our rickety kitchen table. One afternoon, I was home alone when I heard a knock at the door. It was gentle, almost timid. When I opened it, I looked down and saw a little girl, couldn't have been more than 10 years old, with the biggest brown eyes you've ever seen. She looked up at me and said she was selling Girl Scout cookies. Now, let me tell you, this little girl gave me the full presentation. She told me about the different flavors. She explained the special deal they were running. And the price? Just $2 a box. That's all, $2. And standing there listening to her, I wanted to buy those cookies. I really did. But here's the problem: I didn't have $2. Not $2 to my name. Can you imagine that? Here I was, a grown man, a father, someone who'd been to college, gainfully employed, and I couldn't afford to buy Girl Scout cookies from a 10-year-old girl. I was so embarrassed. So, I did the only thing I could think of. I lied. I told her I'd already bought Girl Scout cookies earlier and still had plenty in the house. It wasn't true, but it got me off the hook. She smiled politely and said, "That's okay, sir. Thank you very much." Then she turned and walked away. I watched her go, and when I closed that door behind me, I leaned back against it and something broke inside me. I said out loud, to nobody but myself, I don't want to live like this anymore. I've had it with being broke, and I've had it with lying to little girls about Girl Scout cookies. That was my moment. That was the day I made a promise to myself that I would change. Not someday, not when things got better, right then. But here's what I want you to understand: that moment didn't change my life by itself. Moments don't change lives, decisions do. And the decision I made that day was this: I would develop the disciplines necessary to never be in that position again. I decided I would always have money in my pocket. Not because I'm greedy, but because I never wanted to feel that shame again. And you know what? Several years later, after I'd turned my life around, I was walking out of my bank after making a large deposit. As I crossed the street toward my car, I saw two little girls selling candy for some organization. One of them came up to me and asked if I'd like to buy some. "What kind do you have?" I asked. "Almond Roca," she said. "That's my favorite." "How much?" $2. I looked at both girls. "How many boxes do you have?" One had 5, the other had 4. "I'll take them all," I said. Both their mouths dropped open. "Really?" they exclaimed together. "Sure," I said, reaching into my pocket and pulling out $18. I handed it to them. As I walked away with all 9 boxes, one of the girls called out, "Mister, you're really something." Can you imagine spending $18 and having someone tell you you're really something? That's why I carry cash. That's why I developed the discipline to save and earn. Not just for me, but for those moments when I can make a difference with something as simple as buying candy from 2 little girls. The greatest fortune that came to me at age 25 wasn't money. It was meeting a man named Earl Schoaf. I first saw him at a sales conference where he was speaking. I can't even tell you exactly what he said that night, but I remember sitting there thinking, I would give anything to be like this man. He had something I didn't have. He was successful, yes, but more than that, he was confident, clear, purposeful. At the end of the evening, I gathered all my courage and walked up to introduce myself. I'm sure I fumbled through it, but he must have seen something in me, some hunger, some desire to change, because a few months later, he hired me to work in his organization. For the next 5 years, Mr. Schoaf became my mentor. He treated me like a son. And let me tell you, he didn't just teach me about business. He taught me about life. One day, after I'd started making some progress in the marketplace, he said to me, "Jim, don't just learn how to earn. Learn how to live." I didn't understand at first. I thought, I'm working hard. I'm making money. What else is there? He smiled and said, "Jim, I know people who have beautiful things surrounding them, and yet they feel little happiness. And I know others who've hoarded huge sums of money and yet are poor in spirit and find little joy in their lives. I want you to learn the art of designing a lifestyle." "Well," I said, "I can think about that when I have money." Right now, I need to focus on earning. No, Jim, he said, shaking his head. It's easier to learn the art of designing a lifestyle with small amounts. In fact, it starts with 2 quarters. 2 quarters? I didn't understand. He explained, most people will take 2 quarters and buy a soda. They don't think about it. It's automatic. But you, Jim, you need to develop a 2-quarter mentality in a 1-quarter thinking world. Save up your 2 quarters. Save up your soda money. And instead of spending it all on little things that disappear, buy yourself a book. Buy something that lasts. Something that adds value. That simple idea changed how I thought about everything. It wasn't about the money. It was about the discipline to delay gratification, the discipline to invest in myself, the discipline to think long-term instead of just satisfying immediate wants. Mr. Schoaf also taught me one of the most important lessons I ever learned. He said, Jim, don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better. Don't wish for fewer problems. Wish for more skills. Don't wish for less challenge. Wish for more wisdom. At first, I didn't like hearing that. I wanted my life to be easier. But then I understood what he was really saying. He was saying that life isn't going to change. The seasons will still come. Winter will follow fall. Every single time. Some winters will be long. Some will be short. Some will be difficult. Some will be easy. But they're coming, whether you like it or not. The only thing you can change is yourself. And the way you change yourself is through discipline. When winter comes, you use it to get stronger, to get wiser, to prepare for spring. Because spring always follows winter. Opportunity always follows difficulty. But only if you're ready for it. Only if you've used the discipline of winter to prepare. Mr. Schoaf passed away when I was just 31, but his lessons are still with me every day. He showed me that success isn't something you chase. It's something you attract by becoming the kind of person who deserves it. And becoming that person requires one thing above all else: discipline. Let me share with you one of the most powerful metaphors I ever learned. Life is like the seasons. Here's the truth. Life and business are like the changing seasons. And you cannot change the seasons, but you can change yourself. Think about it. After fall comes winter, every single time. For 6,000 years of recorded history, winter has followed fall. It's not going to change. True, some winters are long and some are short. Some are difficult and some are easy. But they always come. And here's what I've noticed. When winter comes, some people act like children. They tear January off the calendar and pretend it doesn't exist. They complain. They blame. They wish winter away. But mature people, they do something different. They get stronger. They get wiser. They get better. They use the winter for personal development. I'll tell you honestly, before I understood this principle, I used to spend my winters looking for summer. I didn't get it. Then one day, during a particularly tough sales slump, my personal winter Mr. Schoaf said to me, Jim, don't wish it were easier. Wish you were better. That changed everything. Since then, I can't say I've welcomed the winters, but I can tell you I've used them. I've used them to study, to prepare, to strengthen my character, to gear up for the spring that I know is coming. Because here's what else is true. After winter comes spring, and spring is positioned perfectly right after winter. Opportunity follows difficulty. Expansion follows recession. Just like clockwork. Spring is the time to take advantage. Don't let the nice weather fool you. If you want to look good in the fall, spring is when you plant. We all have to excel at one of two things, either planting in the spring or begging in the fall. Take your pick. Here's the problem. There are only a handful of springs for each of us. Life is short, so when spring comes, get busy. All of us are here for just a short time. Make the most of it. After spring comes summer. And summer is when you protect what you've planted. You can bet that as soon as you've planted something good, the insects and weeds will try to destroy it. They will succeed unless you prevent them. That's just how it works. Here are 2 truths about summer. First, all good will be attacked. I don't know why, but it's true. Every garden will be invaded. Don't be naive about this. Second, All values must be defended. Your health, your relationships, your income, your reputation, all of it requires constant protection and nurture during the summer. Then comes fall. Fall is harvest time. This is when you reap what you've sown. And mature people take full responsibility for their harvest, bountiful or meager. No complaints. No excuses. Just acceptance. I used to have a big problem with this. Back in my early days, I actually carried around a list of reasons why I wasn't doing well. My reasons for failure list. I blamed the government, taxes, prices, the economy, the weather, traffic, my car, my negative relatives, my cynical neighbors. One day, Mr. Schoaf asked me, "Jim, why haven't you done well up to now?" I ran through my whole list. He listened patiently. Then, when I was done, he looked at me and said, 5 words that changed my life. "Jim, it's not outside. It's inside." "What I said?" He repeated it. "Jim, it's not outside. It's inside. It's not what happens that determines your life. It's what you do about what happens. Stop blaming winter for being cold. Instead, develop the disciplines to handle whatever season comes." That's when I finally got it. The problem wasn't the seasons. The seasons are fine. The problem was me. I wasn't ready. I didn't have the disciplines in place to plant in spring, protect in summer, and reap in fall. I was just drifting through all the seasons, hoping something good would happen. But success doesn't work that way. You don't drift to success. You build your way there, season by season, discipline by discipline. Now, let's talk about what discipline really is, because most people get this wrong. When you hear the word discipline, what comes to mind? For most people, it's negative. They picture a stern schoolteacher with a ruler, a drill sergeant yelling, punishment, restriction. But that's not what discipline is at all. Discipline is the bridge between thought and accomplishment. It's the bridge between goals and achievement. It's what turns your intentions into reality. Discipline is the glue that binds inspiration to achievement. You can have all the inspiration in the world, but without discipline, it goes nowhere. Discipline is the foundation on which all success is built. And here's the flip side. Lack of discipline inevitably leads to failure. Now, most people don't see it that way. They think failure is one big catastrophic event, a company going bankrupt, a house being repossessed, a divorce. But that's not how failure happens. Failure is not one dramatic moment. Failure is a collection of small failures accumulated over time. Failure is what happens when you fail to think today, fail to act today, fail to learn today, fail to care today, fail to try today. It's the result of too little discipline practiced over too long a time. If your plan requires you to make 10 phone calls today and you only make 3, you're behind by 7 calls today. If you need to save $10 and you save nothing, you're behind $10 today. If you should read for 30 minutes and you don't, you're behind 1 day of learning. Now, 1 day doesn't seem like much. You look at a single wasted day and think, no harm done, I'll catch up tomorrow. But add up all those wasted days into a year, and then add up all those wasted years into a lifetime, and suddenly you understand why some people end up at age 65 broke, confused, and full of regret. But success works the exact same way in reverse. Make those 10 phone calls and then make 5 more. You're ahead by 5 calls today. Save your $10 and save 5 more. You're ahead by $5 today. Do that day after day, month after month, year after year, and watch what happens to your life. Discipline is the master key. It unlocks the door to wealth and happiness, to high self-esteem and high accomplishment, to feelings of pride, satisfaction, and success. And here's the good news. Anyone can develop discipline. You don't need special talent. You don't need perfect circumstances. You just need to start. Start small and build from there. There's an old biblical phrase that says, "Go to the ant, you sluggard. Consider her ways and be wise." Now, I love that. Learn from the ant. What can an ant teach us? 2 things. First, an ant never quits. If an ant is headed somewhere and you put an obstacle in its way, it will climb over it, go under it, or go around it. It will find a way. And if you put another obstacle in front of it, the ant does the same thing. Over, under, or around. How long will an ant keep trying? Until it dies. What a lesson! Never quit. Keep trying. Keep finding a way. Second, ants plan for winter all summer long. In the summer, what is the ant gathering? That's right, food for winter. And how much will an ant gather? All it can. Now think about the opposite, the grasshopper. Remember the fable? The grasshopper laughed at the ant all summer. Why are you working so hard? The grasshopper said. Come play. Come enjoy the sunshine. The ant kept working. When winter came, the grasshopper starved to death while the ant had plenty. The ant philosophy is simple. Never quit and prepare for winter during the summer. That's discipline. That's wisdom. That's how you build a life that lasts. Here's one of the most important principles I can teach you. Success is not something you pursue. Success is something you attract by becoming the kind of person who deserves it. Let me explain. Most people have it backwards. They think, if I had more money, I'd be a better person. But that's not how it works. Having more doesn't make you more. It just magnifies what you already are. If you can't save a few pennies out of small earnings, you'll never save dollars out of large earnings. Why? Because the same discipline it takes to put a few coins in a jar every week is the same discipline it takes to open a savings account or manage an investment portfolio. Same discipline, different amount. So the question is not how do I get more? The question is how do I become more? We must work harder on ourselves than we work on our jobs. If you work hard on your job, you can make a living. If you work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune. Think about it this way. Your value determines your reward. The greater your value, the greater your reward. So, how do you increase your value? Through self-control, through the practice of discipline, through patience, planning, intensity of effort, the wise investment of your results, the development of a balanced attitude, consistent activity, the gathering of knowledge, frequent reading, a sensible personal philosophy. All of these things increase your value. And when your value increases, you attract better opportunities, better relationships, better income, better everything. This is the law. To have more, you must first become more. Let me give you something practical. After you pay your fair share to the government, learn to live on 70% of your after-tax income. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's impossible. I can barely live on 100%. But here's the truth. If you can't live on 70%, you can't live on 100% either. You'll just be broke at a higher level. Here's what you do with the other 30%. First, give 10% away. I don't care if it's to your church, to charity, to people in need, but give. Become a giver. There is something powerful about generosity that opens doors you can't open yourself. Second, save and invest 10%. This is for your future. This is how you build wealth over time. The discipline of putting aside 10% every single paycheck, every single month, will transform your financial life in 5 years. Third, use the final 10% to pay down debt or invest in yourself. Books, courses, seminars, anything that makes you more valuable. 70% to live on, 10% to give, 10% to save and invest, 10% for growth and debt reduction. Can you do that starting today? Of course you can. It just requires discipline. Here's how you develop discipline if you don't have it now. Start small. You don't go from zero discipline to running your life like a military operation overnight. You start with little disciplines and string them together. Want to lose weight? Start by eating your bread without butter. That's it. Just that one small thing. Want to go to Europe? Start by setting aside $20 each week. Want to be punctual? Start by getting up 30 minutes earlier than you do now. Want to make $1 million sale? Start by making a $50 sale. As one wise man said, inch by inch, everything's a cinch. But if you never master the small disciplines, nobody, including you, will trust you with the big ones. Don't be like the man who struts out of his house determined to straighten out the corporation when he hasn't even straightened out his own personal budget. Who is he kidding? Everything affects everything else. Every discipline affects every other discipline. If you let yourself down in one area, even a small area, it creates a lack of self-esteem, and lack of self-esteem is the greatest deterrent to success. So start small, master one little discipline, then add another, then another. After a while, the big disciplines won't seem so hard because you've already developed the habit of discipline itself. Let me warn you about something dangerous. There are people teaching that if you just affirm what you want, if you just say it out loud every day, success will magically come to you. I'm completely opposed to this. Why? Because affirmations without discipline cause people to delude themselves. They think they're making progress when they're actually going nowhere. Words without action are worthless. Worse than worthless, they're dangerous. They lull you into a false sense of progress. The man who dreams of wealth but walks daily toward financial disaster. Or the woman who wishes for happiness but thinks thoughts and commits acts that lead to despair. These people are victims of affirmations without discipline. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with stating your goals. I encourage it, but don't mistake stating your goals for achieving them. To make progress, you must actually get started. You must match your words with effort. You must back up your affirmations with discipline. Remember, better is not something you wish for. It's something you become. And becoming requires doing. Let me tell you the simplest truth I know. Your life will change when you change. Not before, not later, when you change. See, a lot of people want their circumstances to change first. They say, when I get a better job, then I'll be motivated. Or when I have more money, then I'll start saving. Or when I feel more confident, then I'll take action. But that's backwards. That's not how life works. Life and business are like the seasons. They don't change. After 6,000 years, winter still follows fall. Summer still follows spring. The seasons are what they are. So, if the seasons don't change, what's the solution? You change. You adapt. You develop the disciplines necessary to thrive in whatever season comes. When I speak to people, whether it's business executives or high school students, my message is always the same. The only way it gets better for you is when you get better. Better is not something you wish for. It's something you become. And here's what's exciting. You're not stuck. You're not a tree. You're a thinking, mobile human being with free will and intellect. You can change. You can learn. You can grow. You can develop new disciplines today that will change your life tomorrow. But it starts with accepting full responsibility. You have to stop blaming the economy, the government, your upbringing, your circumstances. Those things may have influenced you, but they don't control you. You control you. And when you take that responsibility, when you stop pointing fingers and start looking in the mirror, that's when transformation becomes possible. Now, let me give you some practical things you can start doing today. Let me give you your first discipline to practice starting today. Get yourself 3 jars. Label them clearly. Jar 1, charity. This jar is for giving. Every single day, not every week, every day put at least 1 coin in this jar. Even if it's just a penny. The amount doesn't matter at first. What matters is the discipline of daily giving. When it gets full, take it and give it to someone who needs it, to a cause you believe in, to your church. But give it. Jar 2, savings. Every single day, put money in this jar. Again, start small if you have to. A quarter, $1, whatever you can. But do it every day. This is training yourself to save. When it gets full, take it to the bank and open or add to a savings account. Watch that account grow month after month, year after year. Jar 3, investment in yourself. This jar is for books, courses, seminars, anything that makes you more valuable. Every day, put something in. When it's full, buy a book that will change your thinking. Take a class. Invest in yourself. 3 jars. Daily deposits. That's how you begin the discipline of wise money management. Not with a huge salary, not when you're rich. Today, with what you have. Here's a question I want you to ask yourself every single morning and every single night. Did I do today what I said I would do? Not did I try. Not did I do my best. But did I do it? If your goal was to make 10 phone calls and you made 7, the answer is no. If your goal was to read for 30 minutes and you read for 15, the answer is no. This isn't about beating yourself up. This is about honest self-assessment. Because here's what happens. When you start measuring, you start managing. When you start tracking your disciplines, you start following through on them. Get a simple notebook. At the top of each page, write the date. Then write down 3 to 5 disciplines you're committed to that day. At the end of the day, put a check mark next to the ones you did and an X next to the ones you didn't. Do this for 30 days and watch what happens. You'll find yourself doing more checks and fewer X's as the days go on. Why? Because you're developing the habit of discipline. Starting today, commit to reading at least 1 book per month that will make you more valuable. Not a novel, not entertainment, a book about success, business, health, philosophy, relationships, something that teaches you how to become better. 30 pages a week. That's all it takes. Can you read 30 pages a week? Of course you can. That's about 10 pages every 2 or 3 days. Do you know what reading 1 book a month for 5 years will do for you? It will put you in a completely different league. You'll have read 60 books that most people will never read. You'll have knowledge that most people don't have. You'll have insights that most people have never considered. And here's the beautiful part. Books are cheap. You can buy a book that took someone 20 years to learn and condense into 200 pages, all for less than the cost of a meal. Remember the difference between cost and value. Don't ask how much does it cost. Ask what is it worth. A $20 book that teaches you a principle worth thousands of dollars that's not expensive, that's a steal. Start today. Go to a bookstore or library. Find 1 book that will help you grow. Read it this month. Then next month, find another. Here's another practice. Take a careful look at who you're spending time with. There's a saying, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Think about that. Look at your closest friends, your family, the people you work with, the people you choose to be around. Are they lifting you up or pulling you down? Are they disciplined or undisciplined? Are they growing or stagnant? I'm not saying to abandon everyone, but I am saying to be very intentional about who influences you. If you spend all your time with people who make excuses, you'll start making excuses. If you spend time with people who complain, you'll start complaining. But if you spend time with people who are disciplined, growth-oriented, positive, you'll become more like them. Here's your practice. Write down the names of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Then next to each name, write 1 word that describes their dominant characteristic. Are they positive or negative? Growing or stagnant? Disciplined or lazy? Successful or struggling? Be honest. This isn't about judging them. This is about understanding who's influencing you. Then make a decision. Are there people you need to spend more time with? Are there people you need to spend less time with? Are there new people you need to find through books, seminars, professional groups? Don't underestimate this. Your associations will determine much of your destiny. Before you go to bed each night, spend 5 minutes reviewing your day. Ask yourself 3 questions. First, what did I do well today? What disciplines did I follow? What progress did I make? Acknowledge your wins. Celebrate them. Even small wins matter. Second, where did I fall short today? Where did I let myself down? Where did I lack discipline? Be honest. Don't make excuses. Just identify where you need to improve. Third, what will I do better tomorrow? Pick 1 or 2 specific things. Not 10. 1 or 2. Write them down. Commit to them. This 5-minute practice will do 2 things. First, it will help you build on your successes. Second, it will help you learn from your mistakes. And both of those are essential for growth. Get a journal. Nothing fancy. Just a simple notebook. Every night, write the date and answer those 3 questions. Do this for a month, and you'll be amazed at how much more intentional and disciplined you become. Here's 1 more discipline. Practice gratitude. Every morning when you wake up, before you do anything else, say out loud 3 things you're grateful for. It can be anything. Your health, your family, a roof over your head, food in your refrigerator, the opportunity to work, the fact that you're alive, Why does this matter? Because gratitude changes your perspective. It shifts your focus from what's missing to what's present, from what's wrong to what's right. And when your perspective changes, your attitude changes. And when your attitude changes, your actions change. Discipline without gratitude can become harsh and joyless. But discipline with gratitude becomes purposeful and fulfilling. You're not just working hard because you have to. You're working hard because you're grateful for the opportunity to grow, to improve, to become more. Make it a habit. Every single morning, 3 things, out loud. Watch how it changes your entire day. Let me bring this all together. You now understand that discipline is not a restriction, it's a bridge. Between your goals and your accomplishments, between your dreams and your reality, you understand that your life doesn't change until you change. The seasons will keep coming: winter, spring, summer, fall, whether you're ready or not. But you can prepare, you can adapt, you can develop the disciplines that allow you to thrive in every season. You understand that success is not something you chase. It's something you attract by becoming more valuable. And you become more valuable through discipline, through daily habits, through consistent effort, through working harder on yourself than you do on anything else. You understand that small disciplines, practiced consistently, lead to extraordinary results. It doesn't happen overnight, but it does happen. Inch by inch, everything's a cinch. And you understand that you have everything you need to start today. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when circumstances are perfect. Today, right now, with what you have, where you are. So here's what I want you to remember. Write this down, memorize it, let it become part of who you are. I will not wish for an easier life. I will work to become a better person. I will not wish for fewer problems. I will develop more skills. I will not wish for less challenge. I will gain more wisdom. I will develop the daily disciplines that success requires. I will become the kind of person who attracts the life I desire. And I will start today, right now, with the small disciplines that lead to big changes. Because I know this truth: no discipline, no destiny. If this message resonated with you, here's what I'd like you to do. First, subscribe to this channel so you don't miss future lessons. There's so much more I want to share with you about success, wealth, happiness, and personal development. Each video is designed to give you practical wisdom you can use immediately. Second, hit the like button. It helps me know that this content is valuable to you and helps others find these lessons when they need them most. And third, this is the most important one. Leave a comment below and tell me which discipline you're going to start with. Are you going to set up your 3 jars? Are you going to commit to reading 1 book a month? Are you going to ask yourself the daily question? Tell me. Write it down in the comments. When you declare it publicly, you're more likely to follow through. And if you've already started developing disciplines in your life, share your story. Tell us what's working. Encourage others who are just beginning. We're all on this journey together. Remember, your life can be better. It doesn't have to stay the way it is. But it requires one thing: the decision to develop discipline. Starting today. I believe in you. Now go build that bridge to your destiny. Thank you for spending this time with me. Now go make the rest of your life the best of your life.